Hello everyone, my name is Altan Jeksenbina and I am from TIFIA 33206P group, and today my topic is about error correction. So introduction. ESL teachers and students often have differing views on the importance of error correction. Some students insist that they want the teacher to note and correct all errors made at any time in a lesson. Some teachers want to encourage their students' confidence and don't feel comfortable correcting students as they feel corrections may interfere with the development of the students' fluency in English. So what to do to teachers? What is the difference between an error and a mistake? A mistake is an accident or a lapse, something that your ESL students actually know and that they can most likely self-correct if given the chance. This can be a typo, using the wrong word, or a small grammatical mistake. But what is the error? An error, on the other hand, is something that your students don't know because they haven't learned it yet or they forgotten it. This is where your students need to the most in order to effectively correct their errors and help them develop their language skills. What kind of errors do EFL and the ESL students make in class? First, it is productive skills. Errors in spoken or written skills include vocabulary, pronunciation, grammatical errors, as well as errors in producing intelligible language that can be understood globally. And second, it is receptive skills. Errors in listening and reading skills include misinterpretation of content, misunderstanding of words, or simply the inability to comprehend someone's speech in total. Next, when to correct. It is three types. It is type of activity, level of the student, and how to correct. Type of activity. When the focus is on accuracy, teachers can correct more immediately. For fluency-focused activities, teachers can correct right away those mistakes or errors that are impeding communication, but in general can hold other issues until the end of the activity. Level of the students. If students make errors in language structures or items that are beyond their expected level, then teachers need to determine if the student has enough background knowledge of English to deal with any correction. If a student is trying to express something far beyond his or her current ability in English, the teacher may have to simply restate the information as clearly and simply as possible. Next, how to correct. When possible, teachers should encourage students to recognize and correct their own errors. Teachers can draw attention to errors by using gestures, facial expressions, or by using visual cues. Examples of visual cues can be reference sheets in the classroom or information on the whiteboard. Additionally, for written work, teachers can use editing symbols. For grammatical, vocabulary errors that students should be expected to know. Next, do's and don'ts of error correction. First, it is do's. First, be sensitive to your students' needs and preferences. Ask your students all at the beginning of your course which kind of error correction they prefer. Many students like being corrected immediately because they can still remember their mistake and learn from it, while others can only want to focus on fluency. Second, be kind and patient in the way you correct. Always encourage your students to keep trying new language they've learned and assure them that making mistakes it is okay. You want to encourage your students to speak and to experiment with what they've learned so far. Third one, give your students a chance to self-correct or apply peer correction in your classroom. Some students learn better when they corrected by their classmates instead of the teachers. Fourth one, use visual cues. Sometimes simply raising your eyebrows can help students realize that they made a mistake, and it gives them a chance to correct themselves. Establish your own gestures for common mistakes in tense, vocabulary, sentence structure, such as pointing behind you to indicate a student needs to use past tense. And don't overcorrect every single mistake your students make. Keep error correction relevant and then make sure that your students benefit and they learn from it. Second, avoid interrupting your students when they are making an effort to speak fluently. This can be very counterproductive, and your students might lose their motivation or become hesitant to use the new language they've learned. Third, never scold your students, become loud, or show your impatience with angry facial expression. There are no silly mistakes in the EFL classroom. This is especially important if you are teaching young learners who easily pick up on moods and emotions. Fourth one, do not forget that they are learners and you are a teacher. So here you can see the types of errors and the mistakes. First one, slips. Slips are mistakes caused by temporary factors such as a learner being tired, nervous, excited, or distracted. Errors. Errors are mistakes caused by a learner not knowing something. Interference. In the classroom, language 1, interference, where a speaker uses language forms and using level 3 and etc. Fossilization. Incorrect linguistic features become a permanent part of the way a person speaks and writes a new language. So you can see here types of correction techniques. Let's start with finger correction. Finger correction, it is a way of drawing attention to where a learner has made a mistake. Teacher counts out the words students has said on her fingers. Fingers represents words and the teacher can show clearly in which word in finger the mistake was made. A teacher may use her fingers to show that a mistake has been made with word or sentence, stress, word order, grammar, pronunciation, and etc. Next one, it is delayed correction. Corrections a teacher uses some time after a learner has made an error. This is usually done to avoid interrupting fluency practice, although there are other reasons also. Delayed correction contrasts with correction techniques such as reformulation, echoing, which occur immediately, on the spot. Reformulation. In reformulation, the teacher repeats what the learner has said, but correctly without drawing attention explicitly to the error itself. This technique offers the correct example of relevant language to a learner at a time when the learner may be ready to notice the difference between what they say and the correct version of the teacher. Echo correction. A method used when students make a mistake and the teacher repeats the mistake with rising intonation, encouraging students to correct themselves. So here you can see the worksheet to practice your error correction. So that's it. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.